Patch 0.5 is coming. And I'll say it here first. This is going to be the biggest and most influential patch we have had in the entirety of early access, and it is going to be shaping the game even beyond 1.0. So in many ways, this is going to be one of the most influential patches we are ever going to be getting in Path of Exile 2's history. And I'll have to say, because of that, it is kind of a make or break situation. Not only is it a giant patch, but the patch has had so much time to cook that the expectations for what is going to be coming is extremely high. And whether or not Grinding Gear Games is able to deliver upon those expectations is going to be what sets this game apart from the others. Now, it already is one of the best ARPGs out there, but I think that with this patch, there is a potential that this game actually becomes the best ARPG in the market if done correctly. Now, with that, I wanted to go over what I think is going to be in this update, in this live stream, which is happening tomorrow, May 7th at 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll be streaming it right there. So if you want those Twitch drops, come hang out, twitch.tv/MisoXshiro. But here are my predictions for what is going to be coming in this patch, and most specifically, what's going to be coming out on that live stream. We have the things that I think are guaranteed, things that I think are very likely, somewhat likely, not likely, and things that I have on my wish list. So to start off, let's go from the top. So the ones that are guaranteed. First one we have are the League mechanic reworks. Now, we've seen a ton of the League mechanic teasers. We've had one for Breach, we've had one for Delirium, Expedition, and the latest one we all expect to be a Ritual one. And I'm expecting actually it to be a combination of like Ritual and Viridian Wildwood because of some of the themes around the depths, going deeper or something like that, which is something that you do for Viridian Wildwoods in Path of Exile 1, and also the themes from the different Asmeri gods of Solaris, Lunaris, and Viridi that have appeared on the screen. So I'm expecting a League mechanic rework for all of these League mechanics. I also think that Temple is going to be getting changed / buff / nerfed, whatever you want to call it. And then we are also going to be getting new Pinnacle bosses along with these changes. If we look at Po2DB, we can actually see some of these potential new Pinnacle bosses in the files already. For example, we have the Tangmazu boss, which is the Delirium Pinnacle, and we have the Ritual Wendigo boss, which is the Ritual Pinnacle. Now, whenever it comes to data mines, we do have to take it all with a grain of salt because things may be added into the files, but they may never actually get implemented into the game at all, or at least for the near future. For example, we've seen the Martial Artist Ascendancy in the files since 0.2, and that has not been added yet. But this is information that does point us towards potentially getting new Pinnacle bosses for at least Delirium and Ritual, and possibly some of the other ones. Now, the other thing that I think is going to get reworked for sure is going to be the Infinite Atlas. Now, we've seen this in the initial teaser that was first released for 0.5 with the huge monolith rising up out of the ground. And I think that is a symbol for a new Atlas, a new way to traverse the Infinite Atlas, and something beyond what we currently have in the game right now. So I think that the Infinite Atlas is definitely going to be kept. I don't think it's going to get turned into a finite Atlas, but I think that there is going to be major changes to the Atlas that is going to shape the way that we're playing the endgame. I also think, of course, we are going to be getting the Atlas skill tree reworked. Mark has talked about how this is something that they've been working on, and he even called the old Atlas tree something that really sucked when he looked at it. So I'm expecting a huge rehaul for the Atlas skill tree that is going to be completely different from anything we've seen before, even compared to Path of Exile 1. I also think, of course, that there are going to be new ascendancies, and my pick for the one ascendancy that I think is going to be in the game for sure. Again, there probably will be more than one, but I think this one for sure is coming, which is the Wild Speaker. The reason why I think this is going to be coming for sure is because, of course, we've seen images of it in Po2DB 4.1. If you look at the website itself, you can see, and you scroll down, this is the teaser image for the Wild Speaker. It is going to be a Huntress class that is going to be playing around with the Asmerian spirits. And something that you'll notice that has been a theme across all of our teasers is that the Asmeri is a huge part of everything. So you have the Asmerian spirit for the Delirium teaser, and you also had, again, the Asmeri gods for the last teaser teasing Ritual. So I think the Asmerian theme is going to be huge in this update. As a result, I do think the Wild Speaker is going to be the guaranteed ascendancy that is going to be in this update. That is just my prediction, though. We'll see, but there is definitely going to be new ascendancies coming to the game. Now to the next category, very likely. I don't think that these are guaranteed at all, which includes a new class, which is Swords and the Gladiator. I think that if we get a new class, it will be Swords and the Gladiator. Now, we did get some hints here and there from Kelly. We've also had hints from the teasers as well, teasing Swords, but there has not been any definitive information that Grinding Gear Games has given us that has told us, hey, Swords are coming. So as a result, I think it's just not guaranteed we're going to be getting this as a new class or even a new class at all. But I do think that is more likely than a new league mechanic, which I will explain in a little bit. I also think that we're probably getting a change to the Waystone system, just like not the Waystones themselves, but everything around the Waystones, from mods to juicing to even tablets. I think that we're going to get a huge change here in the way that we're going to be playing endgame maps along with the Infinite Atlas rework. And of course, with all of the Asmerian stuff with the Wisp being teased, I think it's also pretty likely that we're going to be getting a Wisp rework. Everybody hates Wisps. Everybody loves the dog on it, and I think that GG has realized this, and with all the themes going around with Asmeri and them hinting at the Wisp stuff in these teasers, I think it's pretty likely we're going to be getting a Wisp rework as well. Now down below, I have League Mechanic as in the somewhat likely category. The reason why I have the League Mechanic in the somewhat likely category is because, of course, first off, much like the new class, we haven't gotten any definitive information that we are going to be getting a new league. But at the same time, the reason why I think it's a lower priority for Grinding Gear Games is because they are doing a major rework to all of the previous league mechanics, at least most likely they are. So as a result, I think they're going to look at this and be like, okay, well, we have a lot of things we need to accomplish in this patch, and honestly, maybe not enough time to do all of it. So if we're going to cut one thing, I think that they're going to cut the new league mechanic because they're reworking all these leagues, which is essentially like multiple new league mechanics in one, and then they're going to be prioritizing the new class. Of course, there is a chance that we get the new class and the new league mechanic, but I do think that it's unlikely that we're going to get both, given that it's such a big undertaking to do both of those things on top of everything else that they're pretty much guaranteed already to be doing. Now, another thing that I think they're going to be doing is a change to item rarity, and they might remove it or just edit it. It's kind of likely. I don't think it's a priority for them, but I think there has been enough talk in the community about this, and Jonathan has mentioned in the past that he doesn't like how rarity is in the game right now, to a point where they might decide to do this because this is the big ending game update, and rarity is a big part of the end game. Now, last league, I would say rarity was not as important because the temple, it was either you did maps or temple, and in maps, it wasn't that important, but in temple, it was imperative. So I still think it is a problem in the game that does need to be solved. Now, in the not likely category, this is the category where I think that we're pretty much guaranteed to not get it. And the first one is going to be the Trial of the Ancestors, mainly just because we just have so many things that are coming in this patch. I don't think there's really room for them to add this. I think they're going to save this for a later date for if there is going to be a 0.6 and if not for 1.0. And along with that, I also think Act 5 is in the same boat, where Act 5, I don't think is going to come without Act 6. I just don't think it makes sense. Right now, Act 5 would be too short to replace the interludes, and also Act 6 is supposed to be shorter than every other act. So I think as a result of that, they are going to be packaging Act 5 along with Act 6, which I think is going to be coming in 1.0, because that would be a nice big reveal just to get everybody hyped. Now, those are the big ticket items that I think the community has brought up in the past that I think are either going to be included or not included in the live stream and update. But beyond that, I do have a small little wish list of things that I hope they address in either the live stream or the patch notes, because I think they are important to the overall feel of the game. And the first one is going to be the augments and socketables in the game right now. For a long time, I've always complained about the augments and socketables in Path of Exile 2 because I think that the whole system is extremely convoluted. Originally, Jonathan has said that the socketables were a way to help replace the crafting bench, but at this point, because of the sheer number of socketables that we have in the game with confusing names and confusing categories, I feel like they add more confusion than clarity to the game. And because of that, I really do want them to take a look at the system once again and either rework it or maybe even just get rid of it entirely. I think that the crafting bench is a much more elegant solution to this problem at the moment, and the socketables are just lacking right now. Now, I don't think, in my opinion, that these socketables need to go, but I do think that they need to majorly cut down on the number of socketables that we have in the game and make it so that the socketables are more of a luxury item that you use to improve your build, as opposed to something that we use to fix problems like resistances. I think that will cut down the number of socketables by a huge number and also keep that chase feel that we have for some of those big ticket socketables in the game right now. I also think that adding life on the passive tree is just inevitable at this point. Unfortunately, armor and evasion are just really held back by the fact that life cannot be scaled to a higher level right now. And as a result of that, energy shield is always going to be king. So adding life on the passive tree, I think, is imperative and is required for a functioning and balanced defensive system. The next thing that I want is going to be the skill level rework. This has been a hot ticket item in the community for a while, and people are tired of having to find plus skills on all of their gear because it makes gearing very straightforward and has no complexity, and also makes gearing options very limited. A lot of the unique weapons that we have in the game are completely useless because they don't have additional levels of skills. And if they were to able to tune this system to a point where it is passable and not required on all of our gear, or at least much less powerful, I think a lot of those uniques would come into the light and be much more useful than they are now. And lastly, this one is a personal one, but if they do add swords, I really hope they don't add it and make it garbage, because it is a meme in the community that any of these skills are going to require you to jump through a flaming hoop, have 3 endurance charges, frenzy charges, power charges consumed, and only last up to 2 seconds, and you can't earn them while you're using the skill. And there's a reason why the community feels this way, and that's because they feel like a lot of these skills that are added to the game, the really powerful ones, the ones that feel really good to play, are just going to get limited in many ways to have their fun levels reduced by a lot. But yeah, that wraps up this video, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am for the GG live stream happening tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. And of course, again, please come hang out on my stream during that time, twitch.tv/me6shiro, because I'd love to see you guys there and discuss and be excited about everything with you. And of course, you also get those sweet, sweet Twitch drops. So hopefully I see you guys there, but if not, hopefully I see y'all on the next video. All right, guys, peace.